This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most, so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. All right, next up, the last team that's hosting a first-round game, Oklahoma, led by Brent Venables. They went 10-2 this year. Their path to the national title game, they play Alabama in a rematch of Oklahoma's win earlier this year. They actually host Alabama, whereas they were at Alabama in that regular season game. In the quarterfinals, if they beat Alabama once again, they'll take on Indiana in the Rose Bowl in the quarterfinal round. If they beat Indiana, they'll move on to the semifinals to take on either Texas Tech, Oregon, or James Madison. That will be in the Peach Bowl in the semifinals. And listen, Brent Venables has been kind of a roller coaster as Oklahoma's head coach. It started off with a very disappointing 6-7 record in 2022. I believe that was the first losing season in the 21st century. Right after that, though, a 10-3 record in 2023. Right after that, another 6-7 record last year. And this year, they're 10-2 right now, going into the college football playoff, their first playoff appearance in 6 years. They did lose to their arch rival in Texas and also a fellow playoff team in Ole Miss, but the Sooners were able to qualify for the playoff over other 10-2 teams in college football because they have 2 wins over top 20 teams in Alabama and Michigan. Alabama, of course, is in the playoff where they're playing right now, too. Oklahoma hosts the Crimson Tide in the first round of the playoff. They beat Alabama by a final score of 23-21 in Tuscaloosa back in Week 12.
Yeah, and they beat them last year 24-3 in a dominant effort that kept Alabama out of the playoff last year. So for Alabama, this really is kind of the thorn in their side. But I think Oklahoma's season, it's been a strange one, and I think it's one where I think if they were going to get to the playoff originally in the preseason, we expected them to have some sort of offensive improvement with John Mateer at quarterback. Maybe a little bit, but not all that much. This team has really been carried by their defense, and I think to Brent Venables' credit, a lot like I talked about with Georgia's Kirby Smart and how that team just keeps their identity on a week-to-week basis. Oklahoma knows what they want to be on a weekly basis. They want to force turnovers on defense. They want to rush the passer, and they need to play safe football and take advantage of their opportunities they get on offense, especially the easier ones after turnovers. Honestly, you know me, for the last month, I've been calling them the Pittsburgh Steelers of college football because, You know what, they frustrate you, and it's ugly, and offensively it's not always great, and they really win when they win the turnover margin. But you know what? They're here. They're in the playoff. They get to host a game, and I would argue they might have gotten the one team that they would have really wanted to play in this playoff.
Yeah.
If I'm being more so than maybe a Miami or potentially a Notre Dame or a Texas again. I think this is the team in Alabama that they really are they feel good about playing after beating them the last 2 years over there, both in Norman and in Tuscaloosa.
So, Dalton, the biggest strength and the biggest weakness for Oklahoma is very simple. The biggest strength is the defense, and the biggest weakness is the offense. Let's talk about the defense even more, though.
Absolutely. I mean, they're just loaded. I mean, you talk about a 3-level defense. At all 3 levels, they've got big-time playmakers, right? Talk about R. Mason Thomas when he's healthy. He's an elite pass rusher. David Stone at defensive tackle, one of the best run defenders in the country. You talk about, Kip Lewis and Owen Heineke and the job they do cleaning up things, especially in the run game at linebacker. Eli Bowen, Peyton Bowen, Cortland Guillory, Robert Spears-Jennings. The secondary's loaded. And then to tie it all together, not only are they extremely talented, maybe top 5 talented on defense in college football, but Brent Venables is the mastermind, right? The blitz packages, the rotations in coverage, the way he confuses quarterbacks, the way that he gets his team to force turnovers on a weekly basis. You're right. This entire unit, you can't really narrow it down to just one thing. Some teams, it's the pass rush or their linebackers or what have you at all 3 levels, and it's more than just 11 players. They got a bunch of players who are really good, even as rotational and second-string guys. They're so good on defense, and they're going to keep themselves in games with this defense. The biggest thing I would say when you're going against this Oklahoma team, stay patient. don't turn the football over. Because if you turn it over and give them either defensive touchdowns or easy opportunities on offense, then you're in real trouble. Again, it is very much to me the college football vibe of the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL. It is just our defense has to keep us in it. They have to give our offense short fields, but they do it more often than not.
Yeah, Oklahoma's 5th in successful play rate this year on defense, 7th in EPA per play, 7th in yards per play too. Oklahoma has allowed 17 or fewer points in 8 of their 12 games this year. So that defense has been, like Drake Holiday said in the chat, they've been balling this year. Now, conversely, the offense has struggled this year once again. They have scored 17 points in each of their final 2 games, and they're only 96th in EPA per play on that side of the ball. It's not just John Mateer or the offensive line or the receivers or the run game. It's a combination of it all, honestly. This offense is a little struggling right now, honestly, and we'll see what they can do in the playoff against Alabama, but this offense, Dalton, is probably going to put up, I would imagine, somewhere around maybe 20 points per game, if that. In the playoff, we'll see. The defense is going to have to win them ball games, honestly.
No, for sure. Against Power 4 teams this year, right, 9 games against Power 4 teams, only once did they score at least 27 points. That came against Tennessee in that win. That's really, this is the entire thing, right? There are times when they get the run game going pretty well with Torrey Blaylock and Xavier Robinson in the backfield, right? There are moments when you get explosive plays out of an Isaiah Satania or Jaron Kanek or even Deion Burks out there at receiver. But the theme to me is that it's so inconsistent. And there are times when it is reliant on short fields coming off of the turnovers that their defense does get for them, those quick change possessions there. So I think when you look at this Oklahoma offense, the big thing is going to be, if you're going to win any playoff games here, avoid the big mistakes. Allow your defense to go and win that turnover battle. And when it is time to create an explosive play, as they have done enough of lately, not consistently, but enough of, then you have to make those moments happen, right? Yeah. And then, look, this team with their defense, if they get to 24 points, they should probably win because they don't give up points. They've only given up at least 27 points twice, the Tennessee and the Ole Miss game. So it's kind of the polar opposite of their offense, but when they can play solid complementary football, they can win ball games.
Andrew Harbaugh making another great point in the chat, Dalton, said he loves that Oklahoma and Texas Tech have come full circle from being offensive juggernauts to defensive monsters, too.
Yeah, I mean, there were times when we did not talk about either of these teams like that. It was always high flying and the days of Baker Mayfield. Of course, Baker Mayfield playing.
C. Young in the chat saying, "Long gone are the days of Mahomes versus Mayfield." Remember that game where both Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield 800 passing yards each and 8 touchdowns each, and was the biggest shootout ever.
Man, if we had
Oklahoma Texas Tech in the playoff this year, it'll be 6-3 final score.
Well, I mean, just call it the Baker Mayfield Bowl, but. He would root for Oklahoma, wouldn't he?
Yeah, you'd have
right?
to. No, you'd have. No, it ended badly.
It wasn't great.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, I was going to call it.
It was more like he wanted a scholarship, and they were like, we're bringing someone else too.
All right, I was going to call it's still the Baker Mayfield Bowl, but we know which side of that. Heisman, flag planting, all that stuff. Okay, yeah.
Suffice to say, if Oklahoma played Texas Tech in the playoff, it would not be as high scoring.
No, it'd be 4-2. Yeah,
it would be 4-2 final
it might
score.
Be 4-2.
The 2 safeties just win the ball game for both teams. Let's talk more about the quarterback, Dalton, for Oklahoma and John Mateer, who at one point was the Heisman favorite during the season, but over the last 8 or so weeks, he's kind of struggled.
It's been a struggle. I mean, his first 4 games, including the Michigan game, he was really good. Had an 85.6 PFF grade. He was making plays, the design quarterback run game. He can make explosive plays with his arm, especially outside the pocket. But ever since he got hurt and he had that hand surgery and he came back from the Texas game, it just hasn't been the same. A 42.5 passing grade since week 7. Max, that's the 4th lowest in the country, right? And it just speaks to how inconsistent this offense has been. The passing game and with him and Mateer, it's been erratic, right? The accuracy's been off, especially when he has to throw from the pocket and teams keep him contained from playing the playground football that he likes to play. It's kind of been a problem. So he is a dangerous runner. He's a really dangerous athlete and a tough dude. I mean, you talk about, what did he miss 1 game coming off of the broken hand, getting screws put in his hand and his wrist and surgery and all of that, but he's really been battling lately, and I think that's going to be the big thing. Can he find the accuracy, and if teams make him win from the pocket, can he make enough throws on a consistent basis from the pocket to give his team, to move the chains and give them enough explosive plays to move the ball on really good defenses?
Yeah, I want to shout out one of his top receivers, and Isaiah Satania, the third. because he has been big for this offense. They can't really have much offense this year, but his ability to hit home runs with his speed has been critical for their offense to have any success this year. 9 catches on deep throws, are tied for 3rd among all receivers in the SEC. He transferred in from Arkansas, also tied for 2nd in the SEC with 948 receiving yards, and 19 forced missed tackles are tied for the most in the conference too. He's a really good player after the catch, whether it be on screen passes or short throws or what have you, but also he's a really good deep route runner who can make big plays with his speed too. So whether it be Alabama or whoever plays Oklahoma later on in the playoff, they need to account for Isaiah Sategna and his speed, because that could take the top off the defense.
Track level speed. You talk about a home run hitter, and I think the example was it in the Missouri game? Yeah, it was in the Missouri game. The 87-yard touchdown, and it felt like, okay.
That broke the game open.
It did. Missouri was playing so well, and they had the momentum, and they were stuffing Oklahoma, and and all of a sudden, boom, he houses one slant for 87 yards. That's exactly what he can do with that blazing speed. We've seen him make big plays all year, and sometimes, you know what? Maybe they're an offense that strikes out a lot, but when you have a home run hitter like Sategna, you can get a lot done offensively with some explosive plays.
Who is the star defensive player for Oklahoma?
I mean, man, they're a
lot.
To narrow it down is tough, but I'll tell you, with as complicated as this Brent Venables defense is, and we talk about zone blitzes and simulated pressures and rotating coverages, you need one guy on the back end that can just do a little bit of everything. He can be a little bit of everything for this defense. That's Peyton Bowen back there at safeties. At least 140 snaps this year in the slot and in the box and at free safety. He just does everything for them. 82 coverage grade, 6 pass breakups, and 82.3 overall grade. He's also a really good run defender, good tackler, and just, I think back to, I'm going to flashback real quick. I think back to like when I used to watch the Rex Ryan Jets, right? When the last time forever ago when the Jets were really good. And the player in that defense was Jim Leonard, just the guy who could do a little bit of everything, now coaching, I believe, with Sean Payton in the Denver Broncos. And Peyton Bowen is that guy. He just fills any role that he needs him to. It's almost the same way, in a lesser sense, that we talk about Caleb Downs and Matt Patricia at Ohio State, where it's just like, I can ask this guy to do anything and play any role, and he's got a high enough football IQ to understand where he needs to be and where everyone around him needs to be. Peyton Bowen really is, to me, the glue that holds together this secondary.
Yeah, he's a Swiss Army knife. Honestly, he can play anywhere for Oklahoma's defense, whether it be in the box, in the slot, at free safety too. I mean, he has been phenomenal, and he's been phenomenal wearing all those hats for Oklahoma's defense too. Peyton Bowen, former 5-star recruit, he's playing like it throughout his career right now. He's been awesome for that defense. Dalton, pretty simple bottom line, I guess, for Oklahoma. What is the bottom line for Oklahoma? What do you expect of the Sooners in the playoff?
Well, their defense can win them any game, and their offense can lose them any game.
Yep.
I think we will get to that point. And look, they've proven. They've beaten Alabama. They played a very tight game with Ole Miss, and Trinidad Chambliss just kind of outlasted them, right? They've beaten some really good teams on their schedule with this defense. Their defense is a problem, and it's a problem especially for young quarterbacks who haven't seen them before. And that's the interesting dynamic in this first game, is now that Ty Simpson has seen him once, and he's seen 2 games of film in this system. Last year, Jalen Milroe was the starter, but you can still go back and see some of the tendencies. How is Ty Simpson going to respond? And if Oklahoma answers, if they answer that call and they get to play Indiana, all right, this is another fun test then for Fernando Mendoza against this Brent Venables defense. They're another team, and again, we've got a ton of good defenses in this playoff. They're as good as any of them. Their defense can win them any game, but their offense is going to have to respond at some point with enough explosive plays to complement that. They can win any game they get to 24 points. Can they get there? And how often can they win? How often and how widely can they win the turnover battle to get them there?
I mean, they're probably, out of this playoff field, they're probably one of the 4 best defenses, maybe 4 or 5 best defenses in the playoff. And, if you exclude James Madison or Tulane, or even if you include them, you could even argue Oklahoma has the worst offense in the playoff too. So it really comes down to how far this defense can carry Oklahoma and whether or not the offense can provide anything for Oklahoma to make a potentially deep playoff run too. But we'll see in the rematch against Alabama what happens in Norman. That should be an awesome game, maybe the best first-round game we get in the playoff. But this defense has to carry this team to victories, I think, in this playoff.
And just one more thing, curious to see. 3 weeks of rest. See what John Mateer looks like. If there was ever a time for John Mateer to refine the early season form off of the hand surgery and all of that and the way that he's looked the second half, it's right now with 3 weeks off and just getting ready to prepare for a team that you've already played once.
Definitely.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth. And the truth is, Most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok gurus sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff. Because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter, by game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.